In today's art tutorial, learn to doodle spring flowers in just 30 minutes. Hey friends, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell, and today we are drawing spring flowers just in time for spring to come and those flowers to bloom, hopefully. These are really standard, like daffodil, crocuses, all my favorites, hyacinth, and we're gonna just jump right in. You need very basic supplies. If you love to doodle or you're just starting out and you're like, I think I might wanna draw, this is the perfect video for you. And if you would like this drawing as a download that you can print, trace, color, whatever you need to do to help you learn, that is available on my Patreon site. It's just $3 a month to join. It's a great way to support this channel, but also support your own artistic journey. So one of the things I love about a little illustration tutorial is the minimal supplies. You just need some paper. I like something that's like a little bit weighty with just a hint of tooth or texture. And even though I work in pen and pencil, this is my favorite pad of paper from Strathmore. It's for colored pencil. But guess what? You don't have to use it for colored pencil. I've got a mechanical pencil here and an eraser. Where is my eraser? Here it is. I just like a soft gum eraser, sort of these honey colored ones. And then I have two fine liners. These are the mulatto black liners. You can see the description for all of my supplies. Everything is linked so you can have the exact same stuff, and it's a great way to support the channel when you just shop those links. Okay, and if you note these little numbers right here, those numbers actually represent the size of the nib. So I have one that is smaller and one that is larger. This one is just under 1 millimeter. And that's really all you need, a big and a small, and they can be any size. So let's just jump right in. And the first flower that we are going to illustrate is the daffodil. I start with a circle, something like that, and then you're going to put a line through, and then an X through, and that is your guide. This will be the stamen, so I make it kind of bumpy, and then a little semicircle in there. And then we go around and we make 6 pointed petals. And they can all be a little different, like so. And then we've got just a sort of line for the stem, and I like to thicken it up at the top, and then make it thinner, and then we can add like a long leaf over here. And then let's do another one, but this one's going to be on a bit of an angle. So I'll draw a little oval, and then we'll do 2 lines coming down from that oval that angle in, another curved line. So there's your stamen. That part will be, of course, kind of lumpy. And then we'll do a couple petals out here, kind of like a lot like these ones, but you're not going to see the other ones on the other side. Those are kind of blocked. And then we'll do our same stem that is thicker at the top and maybe a little leaf at the bottom there. I think that looks so sweet. Let's start going over it in pen, and I'm going to take the larger of the 2 fine liners. So mine is the 0.9 millimeter nib. And we are just going to go around and put that semicircle there. And then we're going to go around those petal shapes. I like to wiggle the pen a little bit so that my petals aren't too smooth. What we don't want is things that look like cartoony. We want them to look like doodly, but not silly. So just like a little shake of the pen can go a long way towards, making flowers that just look natural and organic. So there we go. Let's put that thick stem at the top that then sort of thins out down here, there, and then our big long daffodil leaves. I think that looks lovely. And we can even do like a few little lines at the base of the petals. You could do that with the smaller fine liner as well. And I want to do a line down the center of the leaves, and maybe even a few lines at the top of the sepal there. I'm not going to do a lot of line shading today. I just want to keep things like very simple, but we can do a little. Here we go. What I want to do now is use that nice soft eraser and just get rid of all of those pencil lines. That way, if I want to add a little bit more shading, like some more thin lines on the leaves or the sepal or the stamen, I can see what I've actually done, and my illustration isn't cluttered up with a ton of pencil. So I think that looks nice. Let's take the smaller of the two fine liners and just do some lines on the stamen there. Just gonna darken that up slightly. I think that looks really good. Let's leave it alone and move on to the next one. Okay, my next illustration is the hyacinth. So I wanna do a kind of cone shape, oval shape, and we'll do a little curved stem there at the base and like a leaf like so. And then what I do is the hyacinth, we're gonna do all these little petal shapes, but I tend to make them go kind of like curving up and out. That to me is what defines the hyacinth and makes it look different from a lilac or a hydrangea or something. So some of these little like horn shaped petals on the outside. And then on the inside of the cone, you can do these little broken sort of floral doodles. Yeah, and it just comes together like so. Let me go over it in pen so you can really see. We're going to do a little trio of petals right up at the top. Then we'll drop down and do kind of like a little 4-petal flower there. And then we'll put some more little curving lines and little horn shapes on the edge. Maybe another little flower over here. Come down to the bottom. And I want to do some of the same stuff. And then we've got our little thick stem. A hyacinth has a fairly thick stem. And then I'm going to do the leaf and just put it over there. So, and then I will put some lines down that leaf as well, and maybe on the stem. And then do I need another? You can do flowers with 2 petals or just 1 random petal, so like that. And you can continue to change the shape if you feel like you need to. Actually, what I think I need to do is just erase so that I can, again, just see what I sort of have, what is going on with the illustration here. And then once I've done that, if I need to put in a few more little floral petals, I can. I just use a big mop brush, a clean, brand new, well, not brand new, but a mop brush that I reserve just for getting rid of eraser dust. That's what you see me using for the eraser dust removal. There we go. I think that looks really cute. You can also just put a dot sometimes, like a dot, maybe 1 petal, something like that. You're hinting at the idea of all these tiny little blossoms and petals that make up the flower. Okay. Let's do another one. This one is creeping phlox. Remember with doodles, I'm always, what would you call it? Stylizing. So for the creeping phlox, I want to start with the stem, and I'm going to do 3 like little branches here. And then we'll put a circle on each. And within that circle, I do a little circle at the center. And then you can just put lines. That will help guide you as to where to put the petals. And then the petals, you can go out, so 2 angled lines, and then just like a little scalloped edge or ruffled edge. And then you can get quite loose with this one. Make some of them thin, some of them thick. The creeping phlox is just a cute, delicate little flower, and you can decide how much of a guide you really need, since we are making some of these very doodly, I guess would be the word, which means we're stylizing them in a way that's going to make for like an interesting little doodle. And I tend to use doodles like this in my journal, on greeting cards, stuff like that. So at the center, just do a little circle, but you don't even have to finish the circle. And then the petals, for the petals, the lines kind of angle out together. And then you just finish it with a little broken edge, messy little edge. And that is your creeping phlox. I love drawing flowers for spring because it's just a reminder that warm weather is coming. There will be flowers soon. You know, I'm sure many of you watching are already out in the garden. Here in Canada, we're not quite there. My hope this weekend is to maybe get out and like rake the yard. That first rake where you're getting rid of all the gross old stuff from last fall and all the kind of decay after winter. It's sort of a messy business, but hopefully it's warm enough to do that this weekend. So there we go. I just did really simple, tiny little petals on that guy. We can make that stem a bit longer. You know, do add as many petals as you like. Anything goes. And then once again, we can erase. This one is a great candidate for grabbing that smaller fine liner and just do a few tiny little lines, something like so. Doesn't take much, and you don't have to do those on all the petals. Like a couple would look nice. All right, up next, I want to do a little lily of the valley. Lily of the valley is a personal favorite. So we're going to start with a curving line and then another curving line there. And we'll do all these little, you can just basically draw little circles and they all come out from a stem. So here, circle, draw a little circle and attach the stem, little circle, attach the stem like so. And then we have big long leaves. There we go. And the lily of the valley, it just has such a wonderful smell. It's so delicate. And I have a whole bunch growing in my yard. And there's like 1 week in May or June when the whole yard just smells so good. So that's why I love it, for the smell. Okay, so then you're going around these ovals and you make them into a little bell shape. So let's go like, woo. They don't have to be perfect. And then they have that little scalloped edge across the bottom. If they are a little different and weird, that's a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. Then you take that stem and just do a nice smooth curving line like so. And then you need to do all those little lines that join the blossoms to the main stem like that. And then I just like to thicken up that main guy a little. There we go. And we'll do another one back there and then one more long leaf. Bonus points if you tuck them in, the leaves are kind of in behind the little flowers. It will just help those white flowers really pop and they look so good. Let's get rid of all the pencil. And this one, I think it might be nice to shade those leaves a little bit, just since the lily of the valley has that really pure white blossom. So if we make the leaves a little dark, it'll just really make those little petals pop. Okay. Darken that up. I'm not coloring in the leaves in their entirety. I think that can just look really heavy-handed, I guess. And it's also just harder to do. But a nice easy trick is just to, do a bunch of like wobbly lines through the leaves. And there you go. It looks so good. Ugh, I have little pen smudges from the places where I didn't wait to erase. So always give your pen a minute to dry. Don't be like me. Okay, next up, the heliobore. This is one that we don't see much in Canada, but I do think it is a sign of spring in Europe. So let's draw a nice big circle here. And we're gonna put a circle in the center for our stamen. And then we're going to do like 2 round petals, one on the top and one on the bottom. And then we start doing overlapping petals. So some of them are going to sit on top like that. You just want some to overlap others. That's really all there is to it. It doesn't have to be that interesting. You don't have to worry about which one, Shayda, which one goes on top. You just want the first ones to kind of get overlapped by some of the others. And then I'm gonna put another little a little leaf up there. Got a little slight curve in my stem. You could do another stem and leaf over here, and then just do a little oval, add some little leaves at the base, and that's all you need to do. Let's go over it in pen so you can see what I'm talking about. So the heliobore has a really delicate stamen. So to do it, we're just going to interpret it as a whole bunch of little lines, something like that. I just went around in a circle and did all these little lines, and then we are going to go over the petals. So these are my 2 that are sitting on top of everybody else. And then I've got this guy in here. This one's in behind. Some of the petals I'm giving like a little bit of a point. Others are pretty round. For the stem here, I'm just going to shake the pen slightly so it's not too smooth. Same thing with the leaves. Put another leaf up here, and then there's our little tiny leaves. And then for the bud, it could just be like a simple little shape like so, like a little oval, little heart shape. I want to differentiate between what is part of the leaves and what is part of the flower. So a good way to do that when you're working in black and white is to heavily shade one and not the other. So you could always do a lot of line shading on your flowers and then leave the leaves. There we go. For the leaves, I'm just doing little angled lines, a little bit of hatching on both sides of that middle line. And then I think I'll just do some light shading on the petals. And if you're interested in all this stuff, the shading, the hatching, the pens, I do have an illustration e-course. You can find it at shaydacampbell.com, and we really go into detail. It's a great learning resource, and I think it's also a very good competitive price as well. So check that out if you're interested in doing a little more floral illustration. It's specifically florals. But for now, let's keep on keeping on. We're going to do a little crocus. And for the crocus, you can start with a circle. Maybe we'll do 2. And we're going to put a long, thin petal in the base of that circle. And then we are going to do 3 petals behind. So 1 long petal, and then 3 more petal shapes, and then just some little messy scribbles and lines at the center. Okay, and then you can join those guys together with some thin stems and do some really like almost grass-like leaves. And then we could do another crocus that's on its side up there. Let me grab my pen and talk this out again. So long, thin petal at the bottom, messy little lines and sort of dots, cluster of lines and dots at the center, and then 3 sort of regular petals at the back. Long, thin petal. We're making crocuses that appear as though they are opening up to the viewer. They look angled. This is the kind of stuff we go over in the e-course, making you aware of all these simple tips and tricks for creating floral illustrations that are beautiful and dynamic and have that bit of perspective and depth. There we go. For the crocus, I'm just keeping the leaves really, really thin, kind of basic. That's okay. I think you need a longer stem over here. Trying to get some balance there. I don't know. Okay, let's get rid of all that pencil. I don't think this one needs a lot of shading. I think it looks good just the way it is. There we go. If anything, I might just do like a little bit of shading on that angled one, something like that. And I just want to leave it alone because we're just doing simple spring floral doodles today. Okay, and the next one is one of my favorites. It's that sweet little grape hyacinth. So we're going to do like a little cone shape, a lot like we did for the hyacinth, and then a curving stem. And then we're going to come over here and do another cone shape, kind of flopping over. And that is going to make up our grape hyacinth. Now it's made up of all these tiny little circles or spheres. So we're going to sketch those in, but you're just never going to really finish a full circle. Just keep adding them and not quite finishing them. We can thicken up the stem a little bit, make it a bit bigger if you need, make it more droopy, whatever. You can kind of play with the shape by adding more little circles. Let's go over that in pen. So I will start with the stems. They just have a little bit of a curve to them and they're fairly thin, but I don't want to use just a single line because I think that just looks like not interesting. So then for the blossom, I like to start at the top and we're just doing circles, but we're not really completing any circles. And on the edges especially, we're kind of doing lumpy bits. We can come down below the stem there. So let's go below the stem, some lumpy circles or just messy lines, some circles inside to hint at that kind of circular blossom, and I think that's good. Get rid of all that pencil. Also, friends, this entire illustration, I just made a digital copy of it, so it's available as like a little printable on my Patreon. You can download it, print it, use it as a coloring page, use it as a tracing page, whatever would be helpful for you. That's just one item in this week's bonus content. I give weekly bonus content on Patreon. Check it out at patreon.com/Shayda Campbell, and it's only $3 a month to get access to all of it. It's only $33 for an entire year, but you can also just pay by the month, which is like $3. Let's do one more. I'm thinking a little snowdrops. Snowdrops are so spring to me. So I'm starting with another little bell shape, kind of like the one we did for the lily of the valley, but maybe a little bit more narrow. And then from there, we're going to do 3 rounded ovals, just like that. And then I've got this long drooping stem and like one long leaf, or you can put another one up here. That looks kind of pretty. Let's go over it in pen. So long sort of bell shape, kind of made the bottom like a little bit messy. Then I like to do that center petal and then the edges. So they are like a bit separate, but also a bit together. And there's my nice droopy curving stem, couple leaves if you like. And I think I do want to thicken that stem up as well. Going over that leaf with just a few lines to make it darker, and then we also need to darken up this sepal. So I'm going to do that with just some angled hatching. Maybe a bit of cross hatching. Again, if you're interested in kind of learning about all the different types of shading, like hatching and cross hatching, check out my e-course. You can just head over to my website, shaydacampbell.com. Let's erase, get rid of all that pencil. Ugh, I smudged it like I always do because I'm not patient. I could probably fix that up. No worries. Okay. And then I have my little stem and leaves. I want them to look like they're all kind of joined. I love that. Little sweet little snowdrop. And that's it, my friends. We have such a sweet little grid here of spring flowers. I'm just gonna write spring flowers. I like to do a kind of print where I'm just doing a mix of like upper and lower case. And I just, instead of going over the lines once, I basically just go over them twice. It's a really simple way to like make a perfectly imperfect little hand-drawn font. Sign it and date it. Get rid of any eraser dust. Remember, if you would like to download and print this image, whether you want to trace it, color it in, just paste it in your journal because it's pretty. You can get that on patreon.com/Shayda Campbell. And if you're like, well, what's hatching? What's cross hatching? I want to know more about drawing flowers. Head to my website, shaydacampbell.com, or go right to shaydacampbellcourses.com and check out my floral illustration e-course. It's a really comprehensive piece of learning material that I'm super proud of. And it would be a wonderful thing to work through this spring and summer. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember, supplies are linked in the video description. Hit that subscribe button. If you love this content, that's just something you can do to support the channel. And I'm putting out 2-3 videos a week right now, plus a lot of shorts that have fun little like learning tidbits. So you don't want to miss any of that stuff. All right, I will see you soon with a new tutorial.